The observation chamber on the neutral station Meridian was designed to make people uncomfortable. The walls shifted between cold blue and harsh red. The air temperature changed every few minutes, moving from too hot to too cold. Soft whispers in languages nobody could recognize played from hidden speakers in the corners. Commander. Lisa Hart sat at a simple metal table with her hands folded in front of her. She had been sitting there for 3 minutes without moving. She did not move her eyes. She did not shift her weight. She simply sat and waited. On the other side of the table was Vexthel. He was not human. His body was made of crystal that caught light and broke it into colors. Red, blue, green, and yellow all moved across his surface like water. His shape was tall and sharp, with angles instead of curves. His face had no mouth, no nose, no eyes as humans understood them. But he could see. He could hear. He could think. Vexthel had tested 3,000 beings from 1,200 different species. He had broken the minds of Thalorians, made Kelmer diplomats cry, and left Cephean commanders unable to speak. For 300 years, he had done this work. For 300 years, nobody had passed his test while remaining calm. Nobody had sat across from him without fear. He had never failed. This was important to him. Lisa Hart was the 3001st being to sit at this table. She was human. She was from Earth. The Galactic Council had allowed Earth humans to ask for admission to the group. First came the test. The test was Vexthel's. Nobody knew what he asked or what he said in these chambers. The doors locked. The walls became solid black from the outside. No recordings were made. When beings came out, they were broken or they were not. That was all the council knew. Vexthel's crystal form shimmered. He began to speak. His voice had no sound. Instead, he sent words directly into Lisa's mind. This was how he worked. He spoke to your thoughts, not your ears. He said, "You are small. Your people live for only 80 years. The Thalorians live for 10,000 years. The Zephians live for 50,000. What can your species offer the galaxy when you will be dead before a Thalorian reaches middle age?" Lisa Hart did not move. She did not close her eyes. She said nothing. Vexthel continued. Your technology is weak. You only discovered space travel 100 years ago. Most species in this room have traveled the stars for millions of years. Your weapons are primitive. Your ships are slow. Your computers are simple. Why should the Galactic Council allow such a young and weak species to join? Lisa Hart opened her mouth and spoke. She spoke in simple words. She said, "You are right. Humans are young. Humans do not live long. But we work hard in our short time. We build things. We help each other. We love our families. These are things that matter." Vexthel's crystal form flickered. This response was unexpected. Most beings became angry or sad when he said these things. Most beings defended themselves. Most beings tried to prove him wrong. Lisa simply agreed. Vexthel pressed harder. He sent a new image into her mind. The image showed Earth. Then the image changed. Fire covered the planet. The oceans boiled away. The air turned to poison. Everything died. Vexthel said, "This could happen any day. The sun could grow larger. An asteroid could crash into your world. Your species could destroy itself with war. Your planet is not safe. Your future is not safe." Lisa Hart breathed slowly. She said, "You are right again. Earth is not safe. We live on a world with earthquakes and storms. We live with hurricanes and floods. We have survived for hundreds of thousands of years on a hard planet. This is why we are strong. We know that death can come. We do not hide from this truth. We live anyway." Vexthel's form shifted colors faster now. Red and orange burned across his surface. He sent the strongest thought yet. He showed Lisa a picture of her family. Her daughter was 8 years old. Her son was 5. Her husband was named Mark. In the image, they all stood on a burning planet. They were crying. They were calling for Lisa. They were trapped, and she was not there. Vexthel sent the message. You will never see them again. The Council will not let you return to Earth. You will spend the rest of your life alone in space, and your family will die alone on that broken world. Lisa Hart felt this deeply. She felt the weight of it in her chest. Her hands wanted to shake. Her breath wanted to break into pieces. But she had trained for this. She had studied every report of every being who had gone through this test. She knew what was happening. She closed her eyes for 5 seconds. She counted her breaths. Then she opened her eyes again. She said, "Those images are not real. You made them. I know you made them because I know my family. I know my daughter is safe. I know my son is safe. I know my husband is safe. They are on Earth, and Earth is protected. I left them because I wanted to help my people. I wanted to give them a chance. This is not easy for me, but I did not come here to be easy. I came here to be strong." Vexthel was quiet. His crystal form stopped moving colors for a moment. For the first time in 300 years, he did not know what to say next. Lisa Hart continued. She said, "You are testing me. I understand. The Council sent you to test me because they need to know if humans can stay calm when everything is hard. They need to know if humans can think clearly when we are afraid. They need to know if we can stay true to ourselves when someone tries to break us. I understand all of this, and I am ready to answer your questions. I am ready to show you what humans can do." Vexthel watched her. He sent no more thoughts. He asked no more questions. He simply observed. Lisa Hart sat still. She felt her fear. She felt her sadness. She felt her doubt. But she sat there anyway. She looked at Vexthel's crystal form, and she did not look away. The session continued for 2 more hours. Vexthel asked more questions. He showed more images. He created more fears. But Lisa Hart answered each one with calm words. She did not become angry. She did not cry. She did not break. When the session ended, the doors opened. Lisa Hart stood up and walked out of the chamber. Vexthel stayed inside. For the first time in 300 years, he was not sure that he had won. Vexthel did not sleep. His species did not need to sleep. Instead, he watched the recording of the first session over and over. He studied every moment. He watched Lisa Hart's breathing. He watched her eyes. He watched her hands. He looked for the moment when she would break. But the breaking moment never came. For 300 years, Vexthel had studied the breaking moment. It was always there. A Thelorian would lose color in their skin. A Kelmer would start to tremble. A Zephian would stop breathing correctly. The breaking moment was always there. A good tester could see it. A great tester could predict it. But Lisa Hart had no breaking moment. This made Vexthel uncomfortable. He did not like this feeling. He decided that he had not pushed hard enough. He decided that he had shown weakness in the first session. In the second session, he would show no mercy. Lisa Hart arrived at the observation chamber 2 days later. The room was the same. The walls still moved between colors. The temperature still changed. The whispers still came from hidden speakers. But this time, the room felt different. It felt dangerous. Vexthel began immediately. He did not waste time with simple questions. He sent a flood of images directly into Lisa's mind. The images came so fast that she could not look away. She saw her daughter lying in a hospital bed. The girl was very sick. Her skin was gray. Her eyes were closed. A doctor stood beside the bed with sad eyes. Then, the image changed. She saw her son in a burning building. Smoke filled the air around him. He was crying. He was calling for his mother. Then the image changed again. She saw her husband in a spaceship. The ship was broken. The air was leaving the ship. He was holding his breath. He was dying. Vexthil sent the message. All of this is real. This is happening right now. While you sit here, your family is dying. You could be there. You could save them. But instead you are here, with me, and they are dying without you. Lisa Hart closed her eyes. Her hands clenched into fists. Her breath came fast and hard. This was different from the first session. This was deeper. This was about the thing that mattered most in her life. She wanted to scream. She wanted to stand up and run out of the room. She wanted to demand that someone take her back to Earth immediately. Her body wanted to do these things. Her mind wanted to do these things. But she had trained for this too. She breathed slowly. She counted to 4 while breathing in. She held the breath for 4 counts. She breathed out for 4 counts. She held empty for 4 counts. She did this 10 times. Then she opened her eyes. She said, "These images are false." "I know they are false." Vexthil did not respond. He simply sent more images. More pain. More fear. Lisa Hart said, "You are using telepathy. You are putting pictures in my mind. But my family is not dying. I received a message from Earth this morning. My daughter is at school. My son is playing with toys. My husband is working at his job. They are safe." Vexthil was surprised. Lisa had checked the messages before coming to this session. She had known that Vexthil would try this. She had prepared. Vexthil tried a different approach. He stopped sending her images. Instead, he sent a new message to her mind. The message said, "I have decided that humans are not worthy of joining the Galactic Council. You will go back to Earth and tell your people that we have rejected them. You will be the reason that your entire species is alone in the universe. You will carry this blame forever." Lisa Hart felt the weight of these words. She felt the responsibility. Billions of people on Earth were waiting for her. Billions of lives depended on her success. But she also understood something important. She understood what was really happening. She said, "Why are you doing this?" Vexthil did not answer. Lisa Hart continued. She said, "I have studied your history. I have read reports about your previous tests. You test every species the same way. You push them until they break. But you have never before changed your methods. You have never before made a test personal. You have never before spent extra time on one candidate." Vexthil was silent. Lisa Hart said, "You are afraid. You are afraid because I did not break in the first session. You are afraid because someone might discover that your method does not work. You are afraid that you are not as great as you believe you are." Vexthil's crystal form turned dark. All the colors disappeared. He was pure black. Lisa Hart said, "I do not think you are bad. I think you have been doing this work for too long. I think you have forgotten why you started. But I know this. If you send me more images of my family, I will not break. If you tell me I will fail, I will not believe you. If you try to make me doubt myself, I will answer you with truth. You can test me, but you cannot break me." Vexthil sent no more messages. He asked no more questions. Instead, he sent Lisa Hart a thought that surprised her. The thought was, "Why are you not afraid?" Lisa Hart considered this question carefully. She said, "I am afraid. I am very afraid. I am afraid that I will fail. I am afraid that my people will not join the council. I am afraid that I am not strong enough for this. But I know something that you do not know. I know that fear does not have to control you. I know that you can feel fear and still do the right thing. I know that being brave does not mean you are not scared." Being brave means you are scared, and you do it anyway. For the first time in 300 years, Vexthel did not know how to respond. The session ended. Lisa Hart stood and walked to the door. As she reached the door, she stopped. She turned back to look at Vexthel's dark crystal form. She said, "The next time you test someone, maybe you should ask yourself why you want to break them. Maybe there are better ways to find out if someone is strong." Then she left the chamber. Vexthel stayed alone in the observation room. His crystal form began to glow again, but the colors were different now. They were confused colors. They were uncertain colors. For the first time in 300 years, Vexthel was not sure what to do next. Lisa Hart did not return to the observation chamber for the third session. Instead, she sent a formal message to the Galactic Council. The message was official and direct. She requested a review of Vexthel's evaluation methods. The council received her message, and it created confusion. Nobody had ever requested a review before. Nobody had ever challenged Vexthel before. Nobody had ever questioned his methods before. The council members called a meeting. There were 12 members total. They represented 12 different species. They gathered in a large room with a view of the stars. Lisa Hart presented her case. She brought documents and reports. She showed them records of every species that Vexthel had tested in the last 300 years. She showed them the psychological damage that many species had suffered. She said, "Vexthel is a good teacher. He has knowledge and wisdom, but his methods are wrong. His methods cause pain and suffering. His methods break people who should not be broken." The Galactic Council says it believes in fairness. But this test is not fair. This test is torture. The council members listened carefully. Some of them looked shocked. Some of them looked angry. Some of them looked ashamed. Lisa Hart continued. She said, "I studied the Kelmer delegation. They passed your test 17 years ago, but they have spent 17 years in psychological treatment. They have nightmares. They cannot trust other beings. They have damaged relationships with their families. Vexthel's test broke something in them that they may never fix." She showed documents and files. She played recordings of Kelmer beings describing their pain. She showed medical reports from their doctors. The council members looked at each other. This was not what they had expected to hear. Lisa Hart said, "I studied the Zephian commander named Krell. He passed your test and joined the council. But 3 years later, he took his own life. The report said he could not stop hearing the things that Vexthel had said to him. He could not forget the images that Vexthel had shown him. He had become so damaged that he saw no other way out." The room became very quiet. Lisa Hart said, "I am not here to punish Vexthel. I am here to ask the council to change your methods. I am here to ask if there are better ways to evaluate new species. I am here to ask if torture is really the best way to find out if someone is strong." One of the council members stood up. His name was Senator Thorne. He represented the Valorian species. He said, "Lisa Hart is right. I remember when the Kelmer delegation came to us. They were broken and damaged. We believed their test had made them strong. But we did not ask them how much it had hurt them. We did not care how much pain they had suffered, as long as they passed. This was wrong." Another council member stood up. Her name was Minister Yuki. She represented the Harmonians. She said, "I had a friend who was tested by Vexthel 50 years ago. I did not know how much damage the test had done to her. She has not smiled in 50 years. She wakes up at night screaming. And I did nothing because I believed the test was necessary. But maybe the test was never necessary at all." The council ordered a formal investigation. They looked at Vexthel's records carefully. They interviewed every species that he had tested. They found that many beings had suffered serious psychological damage. They found that some beings had become unable to function in society. They found that Vexthal's method was causing real harm. Vexthal was called to speak to the council. He came to the chamber where Lisa Hart had stood and spoke her truth. Vexthal said, "My methods have always been effective. Every being who passed my test became strong. Every being who failed my test was not worthy of joining the council. This is the way it has been for 300 years. Senator Thorne said, but some of the beings who passed your test have suffered serious psychological damage. Some have taken their own lives. Is this what you believe strength should be?" Vexthal did not answer immediately. His crystal form flickered with confusion. Lisa Hart stood and spoke. She said, "Strength is not about breaking your mind. Strength is not about suffering. Strength is about knowing who you are and not letting anyone take that away from you. Vexthal, you have been teaching people the wrong definition of strength." Vexthal's crystal form darkened. He said, "Then what is the right definition?" Lisa Hart said, "The right definition is that a strong being can feel pain and not break. A strong being can be afraid and still act. A strong being can listen to difficult truths and not become angry. A strong being can change their mind when they are wrong. Strength is not about hurting others. Strength is about being honest with yourself." The council voted to suspend Vexthal from his position immediately. They said he could not evaluate any more beings until the investigation was complete. Vexthal left the chamber. His crystal form was darker than it had ever been. For 300 years, he had believed he was serving the galaxy. For 300 years, he had believed his method was right. Now he had to consider that he had been wrong. Lisa Hart watched him leave. She did not feel happy about this. She did not feel like she had won. She felt only sadness that someone had spent so much time creating pain and calling it education. That night, Vexthal sent a message to Lisa Hart. The message said, "Why did you not just fail my test like everyone else expected? Why did you fight back?" Lisa Hart sent a reply. She said, "Because I knew that my people needed someone to show them that there was another way. I knew that someone had to stand up and say that torture is not strength. I knew that someone had to be brave enough to fail your test instead of breaking under it. I did this for my people, and I did this for you." Vexthal received this message, and his crystal form glowed a color that was new. It was a color that looked like understanding beginning to form. 3 weeks after the council hearing, Vexthal requested a private meeting with Lisa Hart. The request surprised her, but she agreed. They met in a neutral room on the station Meridian. The room was plain and empty. There were 2 chairs and nothing else. Vexthal arrived first. His crystal form was still dark. It had been dark for 3 weeks. He had not changed color since the council suspended him. Lisa Hart arrived and sat in one of the chairs. Vexthal sat in the other chair across from her. For a long time, neither one spoke. The silence was heavy and difficult. Finally, Vexthal sent a message to Lisa Hart's mind. The message was different from his other messages. It was not a weapon. It was not a test. It was a confession. He said, "I do not know who I am anymore. For 300 years, my identity was based on my ability to break minds. For 300 years, I believed this was my purpose. For 300 years, I believed this made me important and valuable. But you have shown me that this was all built on false ideas. Now I do not know who I am. I do not know what my purpose is. I do not know if I have any value at all." Lisa Hart listened carefully. She saw that Vexthal was suffering. She saw that he was in real pain. But she did not look away from this pain. She sat with it. She said, "You are right that you made a mistake. You are right that you caused harm. But you are wrong that you have no value. Your mistake does not erase everything about you." Vexthal's form flickered slightly. A small amount of color appeared for the first time in weeks. Lisa Hart continued. She said, I studied your work before I came here. I read about how you became a tester. When you were young, your people were very sick. A terrible disease was killing your species. Your parents were both sick. You could not save them. You could not help them. You felt helpless and weak. Vexthel did not respond, but his form colored slightly more. Lisa Hart said, Then you decided that you would never feel helpless again. You decided that you would become powerful. You decided that you would control every situation. You decided that the way to become strong was to break other beings, because you could not break your parents' sickness. This is not evil. This is a being who was hurt trying to find power. But there are better ways to find power than by hurting others. Vexthel's form glowed brightly for the first time in weeks. Colors moved across his surface. Red and gold and purple all mixed together. He said, How do you know this? Lisa Hart said, Because I read your history. Because I prepared for this meeting. Because I wanted to understand you before I came here. Because I wanted to know why you tested the way you did. And when I understood your pain, I understood you better. Vexthel was silent for a long time. Then he said, If I had understood this about myself, would I have tested differently? Would I have hurt fewer beings? Lisa Hart said, I do not know. But I know this. You can understand it now. You can change now. It is never too late to become a different being. Vexthel said, The council has removed me from my position. Nobody will listen to me anymore. I am finished. Lisa Hart said, That is not true. The council is very interested in what you have to say now. They want to know if you can help them develop new evaluation methods. They want your experience and your knowledge, but they want it used in a better way. Vexthel's crystal form glowed with confusion and hope at the same time. Lisa Hart said, In my culture, we have a concept called redemption. Redemption means that a being who has done wrong can choose to do right instead. A being who has caused harm can choose to heal instead. This is always possible. This is always an option. Vexthel said, Why are you being kind to me? I tried to break you. I tried to make you suffer. I tried to destroy your confidence. Lisa Hart said, Because I understand something that you are only now learning. I understand that strength is not about revenge. Strength is not about punishing beings who hurt you. Strength is about showing kindness to a being, even when they were not kind to you. This is what true power looks like. Vexthel's form suddenly became very bright. All the colors of light appeared in his crystal structure at the same time. The brightness filled the room. Lisa Hart watched without fear. She understood what was happening. Vexthel was crying. His species did not produce tears like humans did. Instead, their emotions became light. Their pain and sadness and hope all became visible in their crystal form. Vexthel sighed. I have never experienced forgiveness before. I have never known what this felt like. For 300 years, I have broken beings and never thought about what came after. I never knew that there was a way to repair the damage. I never knew that a being could choose to become different. Lisa Hart said, Now you know. You can use this knowledge to help other beings understand what you have learned. You can help the council develop new ways to evaluate species. You can become a healer instead of a breaker. Vexthel said, Will you help me? Will you guide me in this new path? Lisa Hart smiled. She said, Yes, I will help you. We will work together to change the system. We will work together to make the galaxy a safer place for all beings. Vexthel's crystal form became calm. The bright colors became steady and clear. He looked like a being who had found something he had not known. He was searching for. The two of them sat together in that plain room for several hours. They talked about pain and healing. They talked about strength and weakness. They talked about how beings could change and grow even after 300 years of the same behavior. When they left the room, Lisa Hart and Vexthol were no longer enemies. They had not become friends, not yet. But they had become something important. They had become two beings who understood each other. They had become partners in the work of creating change. 1 year later, the Galactic Council announced that humanity had been officially accepted as a full member species. Lisa Hart received this news with quiet satisfaction. She had done what she came to do. She had shown the galaxy that humans were worthy of a place among the stars. But something more important had happened during that year. The Council had tasked Vexthil with developing a new evaluation system for all species seeking admission. Lisa Hart worked with him every day. They studied the old methods. They interviewed beings who had been tested. They listened to stories of pain and suffering. They learned from every mistake that had been made. Together, they created a new protocol. The new protocol did not use psychological torture. Instead, it used conversation and understanding. It asked beings about their values. It asked them about their history. It asked them what they believed made them strong. The new protocol was still difficult. But it was difficult in the way that learning is difficult, not the way that breaking is difficult. Vexthil traveled to Earth for the first time. He arrived on a ship that landed in a city named Denver. The humans who saw him were curious but not afraid. They had heard about Vexthil. They knew that he had changed. Lisa Hart brought Vexthil to her home. Her daughter ran to her and hugged her. Her son followed behind, more shy. Her husband embraced her. Vexthil watched this family show their love for each other. He said to Lisa Hart, "Is this what I was missing? Is this what I did not understand when I was a tester?" Lisa Hart said, "Yes, this is love. This is the thing that makes humans strong. This is what I was protecting when I would not let you break me." Vexthil watched the family eat dinner together. He watched them laugh and tell stories about their day. He watched the children show their parents drawings they had made. He watched the parents show their children that they were proud. He said, "My species has never experienced this. We do not have families. We do not have children. We do not have love," Lisa Hart said. "Then perhaps this is what you can learn from humans. Perhaps this is what we can teach the galaxy." Over the next months, Vexthil met with many humans. He visited universities and listened to scientists. He visited hospitals and listened to doctors. He visited schools and listened to teachers. He listened to farmers and engineers and artists and builders. Every human he met had a story. Every story showed him something new about what strength looked like. A farmer named Thomas told him, "I work in the dirt every day. I grow food. It is not glamorous work, but it is important. When the harvest fails, I do not give up. I learn and try again. This is strength." An engineer named Victoria told him, "I build bridges. I build buildings. I build things that last for hundreds of years. I must be careful and patient and thoughtful. I must listen to other engineers and learn from their knowledge. This is strength." A teacher named Robert told him, "I teach children every day. Many of them are difficult. Many of them do not listen. But I keep trying. I show them kindness. I show them that they matter. I help them believe in themselves. This is strength." Vexthil listened to all of these stories. His crystal form changed color with every conversation. He was learning. He was growing. He was becoming something different. Lisa Hart worked with him to write the new evaluation protocol. They presented it to the Galactic Council. The Council approved it immediately. The Council also made another decision. They invited Vexthil to stay on as the director of all species evaluations. They asked him to train other beings to use the new protocol. Vexthil accepted this responsibility. For the first time in 300 years, he felt like his work had real meaning. He felt like he was helping beings instead of hurting them. 2 years after the first evaluation, Lisa Hart became the human ambassador to the Galactic Council. The Council recognized her wisdom and her ability to understand beings from other species. She used her position to advocate for kindness and fairness. Vexthil and Lisa Hart worked together on many projects. They developed training programs to teach other beings about compassion. They created support programs to help species that had been hurt by the old evaluation methods. They worked to change the culture of the entire galaxy. Many beings did not like this change. Some believed that the old ways had been better. Some believed that pain was necessary for growth. Some believed that Vexthil should never have been allowed to continue working. But most beings understood what Lisa Hart and Vexthil were doing. Most beings understood that there was a better way. Years passed. Vexthil and Lisa Hart became known throughout the galaxy. They were respected and trusted. They had changed something fundamental about how the galaxy worked. One day, Lisa Hart asked Vexthil a question. She said, "Do you regret the 300 years you spent testing beings? Do you regret all the pain you caused?" Vexthil was quiet for a long time. His crystal form glowed softly as he thought about this question. He said, "I regret the pain. I regret the damage. I regret the beings who suffered. But I do not regret the journey that brought me to this moment. If I had not spent 300 years doing what I did, I would not understand as deeply what was wrong with it. I would not be able to help other beings understand as well as I can now. My past mistakes have become my greatest teacher." Lisa Hart nodded. She said, "This is wisdom." Vexthil said, "Do you regret coming to the council? Do you regret the difficult test?" Lisa Hart said, "No, I do not regret it. That test showed me what I was capable of. That test showed me that I was stronger than I thought. That test brought me to you, and working with you has been the most important work of my life." The two of them stood together and looked out at the stars. They had changed the galaxy in ways that nobody had predicted. They had taken a moment of conflict and transformed it into something beautiful. The story of Lisa Hart and Vexthil spread throughout the known universe. Many species told this story to their young. They told it to teach the value of strength that comes from inside. They told it to teach that change is always possible. They told it to teach that compassion is more powerful than all the weapons in the galaxy. Humanity was no longer the youngest species in the Galactic Council, but they were remembered as the species that taught the galaxy the meaning of true strength. They were remembered as the species that did not break under pressure, but also showed kindness to those who tried to break them. And Vexthil was no longer known as the being who broke minds. He was known as the being who had learned to heal them. He became a symbol of what was possible when a being chose to change, to grow, and to become better than they had been before. The galaxy was not perfect after this, but it was kinder. It was more just. It was a place where strength meant something different than it had before.